Hello and welcome to Digital Zone channel. My name is Iris and today we will go over the absolute basic of UV maps. You may have heard this term before if you work with Blender, but what is it actually? A UV map is, in short, a way to tell Blender exactly where to stick a 2D image onto a 3D model. Blender needs to know precisely which specific pixel of an image should be attached to which part of the model. And that's exactly what UV maps ensure. Let's look at a real example. This chocolate figurine is a 3D model with a UV map and applied texture. It's a final product. The chocolate is our modeled 3D object. On its own, it's made only of chocolate and has no image or texture on it. It is then wrapped all around in a foil, which follows its shape exactly. That is the UV map. And on that UV map, the texture is drawn. That's the colorful Saint Nicholas print. We can remove the UV map or the foil from the chocolate figurine and unfold it. In Blender, this step is called Unwrap. This gives us a 2D image, a kind of unfolded template that represents the 3D model. A UV map is basically a plan according to which the image or texture is wrapped around the 3D model. The UV map ensures that the texture fits correctly on the model, so that the printed mouth of St. Nicholas is in the same place as the figurine's mouth. The A's aren't on the code and everything lines up properly. It tells Blender, stick this specific pixel on the image to this specific part of the 3D model. Let's see how this works in Blender. We will add a basic cube to the scene as the simplest possible object. We want to apply a texture to this cube. To do this, we need to get a UV map, that is a 2D representation of this specific cube. If we want to unfold the cube, we have to choose where to cut it. It's a bit like peeling an orange. We also need to choose where to break the peel and cut it with a knife so it can be removed. This cutting and peeling is called unwrap in Blender, and this is a key part of working with UV maps. When we have a 3D model, Blender will automatically try to create 2D pattern from it in the UV editor. The edges where we cut the mesh are called seams. Blender can create them automatically, but we can also place them manually by selecting two edges and choosing Mark Seams. These edges then turn red, and for Blender it is a signal. This is where you will cut when we use Unwrap. After using Unwrap, the 3D model is unfolded in the UV editor like a puzzle in several connected pieces. Each of these pieces is called an island. When we apply a texture to a UV map, it can often happen that the texture stretches or squashes unnaturally. This is called stretching. It occurs when the UV map is poorly unfolded and some parts are too big or too small, or when the seams are in the wrong places, or the islands have the wrong aspect ratio. Blender can highlight stretching in the UV editor with colors so we can see where the problem is. Blue means the island is too small. Red indicates the island is stretched and the texture will be blurred. Yellow or green shows an ideal state where the texture is unlikely to be distorted. In the UV editor, we can move individual islands and place them exactly on the part of the image where we want them. Islands don't have to touch each other and can overlap. As we can see, when we move an island, only the texture moves in the scene, and the model itself does not deform. And that is the absolute basics and introduction to UV maps. But we still haven't answered the most basic question. What does the term UV map actually mean? What the letters U and V stand for? It's simple, there is nothing complicated behind it. When we have an object in a Blender scene, we use the XYZ axis for modeling. But when we have a 2D image, we also need axes for manipulation. If we use the usual X and Y axis, it would be confusing, so we had to name them differently. Different letters. For example, U and V. And that's why it's called UV maps. So, a UV map is just the naming of two directions on the texture. It's not so complicated, right? If you found this tutorial helpful and learned something new, feel free to support me with a like, subscription, or comment. It's all for today, and I will see you next time in another tutorial.